everyone, welcome back to another edition of our Junk Food Made Real series over here at 20 Dishes. I want to thank you for tuning in. If you're joining us live or if you are watching the replay, thanks for watching. I want to start out today asking you what your favorite Hostess treat is. So today's Junk Food Made Real is all about how to make homemade Hostess chocolate cupcakes. So those really cute cupcakes with the little swirl on the top. And we have a recipe over on the blog that is absolutely delicious. And it actually comes from our friend Emily over at the site Recipes to Nourish. She created this amazing recipe and gave us permission to share it. So I want to give her a little public shout out for allowing us to share that as well. So here's a little picture of these amazing chocolate cupcakes that really look just like the Hostess cupcakes that you're so familiar with at gas stations and stuff like that. So I want to know what your favorite Hostess treat is, because I'm going to try to recreate some other ones. I never ate a ton of the Hostess style treats whenever I was, before I was eating real food or whatever. But I did enjoy a Twinkie every now and then. I don't know what it was about the Twinkies, but I really, really liked them. So if I had to choose a favorite, I would say that Twinkies were probably my favorite. So I'm actually going to see if I can recreate a Twinkie. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but I will work on that and I will let you guys know as soon as it is done. So leave me a comment down below, or if you're watching this over on YouTube, leave a comment down below the video description and let us know what your favorite Hostess treat is so that we can start working on recreating them. So today we're going to talk about the Hostess chocolate cupcakes, because those, along with the Twinkies, are probably some of the most popular Hostess treats. Now, every week whenever I do these Junk Food Made Real editions, so I write the full blog post that's over on the 20 Dishes blog, so 20dishes.com/blog. You can find all of the Junk Food Made Real series there. So what I do is I essentially do like an ingredient breakdown every week. So I will show you all of the ingredients for the food that I'm kind of analyzing. And then I'll do a little breakdown of maybe like 4 or 5 of the ingredients that really pop out to me. There's usually way more than I can cover in one blog post, but I try to pick the top like 4 or 5. So when I was writing this blog post, I went to the Hostess website, and unless I am completely blind, they don't have their ingredients listed anywhere on their site. I looked and looked and looked and looked and could not find them. So I don't know if it was a glitch on the day that I was writing this blog post that, like, for some reason the buttons weren't working or it had been hidden from the site or something, but I thought that was a little weird that they didn't provide the ingredients on there. So I don't know. So I had to actually do some Googling, and I found a site called foodfacts.com that I had never heard of before, and I'm actually really glad I stumbled upon it because it's pretty awesome. So guys, go check that out. If you're looking for just information about some of your favorite foods or ingredient lists or nutrition or whatever, they have it all on there, and it's really fun and easy to read. It's just a really cool site, so I'm glad I found it. So they had the ingredient list for the Hostess chocolate cupcakes. So that's where I got the ingredient list. I'm going to assume that it's the correct ingredient list, or at least really, really close to that. So since I didn't have the ingredient list on the Hostess website, then I don't really know. I can't cross-check it, but we're going to go with it. So a ton of ingredients. Like, if you can see, this whole section right there starts with sugar and then wheat flour. It's a section in my blog post about that big with ingredients. I didn't count all the ingredients, but there's a lot. I would say probably at least 50 ingredients in here. So you guys have heard me talk about this before. Honestly, real food does not need 50 ingredients. I mean, you're going to have some recipes that may have 20 ingredients, but I'm trying to think of even the most complex recipes on my own website at deliciousobsessions.com. I can't think of a recipe that has more than maybe 20 ingredients, because really, real food doesn't need a ton of ingredients in there, unless you're maybe using a ton of herbs and spices. That can really add up quick. But so there's a lot in here. So even in your homemade cupcakes and stuff like that, you don't really need 50 or more ingredients. So it starts off, the very first ingredient is sugar. So I actually chose that to talk about because sugar is the first ingredient. So on ingredient labels, if you guys don't know, the ingredients are listed from the most to the least. So the ingredients that you see in spots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those are going to be the most that's in that product. So the first few ingredients on here are sugar, number 1, wheat flour is number 2, water is number 3, vegetable and or animal shortening is number 4, and then corn syrup is number 5. So those are the top 5 ingredients in these cupcakes. So I chose sugar to talk about a little bit, just because of the fact that even beat out wheat flour in this recipe. So there's more sugar in a Hostess cupcake than any other ingredient. And I'm not anti-sugar. I think that having sugar and having treats every now and then is great, but the problem happens when we're consuming too much sugar every single day. That leads to inflammation in the body. And even natural sugars, if you're consuming natural sugars every single day, if you're eating a lot of like healthy paleo treats and stuff like that, I mean, even those natural sugars can still impact your immune system and lead to inflammation if they are consumed in vast quantities, which unfortunately a lot of us are eating a lot of added sugar and we don't even really realize it, which could be leading to inflammation in the body. So I chose to talk about that. Now the natural sweeteners, of course, are going to be way better than any of the refined sugars that are in here. And I actually have a video that I did all about natural sweeteners. And I will link to that in the video description below. I think I forgot to link to that, but you can check that out if you're new to natural sweeteners and need some ideas and want to learn about those. But just in general, you know, we just don't want to go too crazy with the sugar. So I was kind of surprised that that beat out even wheat flour. So then I chose to talk about wheat flour too. I've talked about wheat flour a couple of times in past editions of this. And again, I'm not anti-wheat. I personally don't consume wheat, but that's because I have health issues with wheat. So if you can tolerate wheat, that's fantastic. The only thing that I want to say is if you are going to eat wheat, please eat organic wheat. Always buy organic, and if possible, eat the more ancient varieties, like einkorn is an example. Spelt is even another example of kind of the more traditional varieties that haven't been hybridized like our commercial conventional wheat has been. The other issue with wheat that I have is that conventional wheat is sprayed with glyphosate, which is Roundup, and it's sprayed with it while it's growing. But a lot of people don't realize that before the conventional wheat is harvested, the whole field is doused in Roundup again. So you're getting a last huge dose of glyphosate on your wheat before it's picked and harvested and goes to be processed. So the glyphosate residue that's showing up in wheat is going to be pretty substantial, and there's a lot of health advocates and researchers that are really looking into this right now. This could be a huge issue, and maybe one of the reasons that wheat is causing problems for so many people. Because face it, 100 years ago, we ate a lot of wheat and we didn't have any problems with it like we do now. So I don't believe that it's the wheat itself that's causing the problem or the gluten itself, except for select people. I think that is what we're doing to our wheat. So that's the reason I kind of call wheat out a lot. And I just want to educate people in, if you're going to eat wheat, that's awesome, but please buy organic. And if you can, buy the ancient varieties like the einkorn. It's just going to be a little bit healthier, not hybridized as much as the conventional wheat has been. The next one ingredient that I pulled out was the vegetable and animal shortening. So soybean, cottonseed, and canola oils are all partially hydrogenated in the cupcakes. And I've talked about this a little bit in past editions too. All of those oils, soybean, cottonseed, and canola, are probably going to be genetically modified because they're not specified as organic in here. And I'm going to venture a guess that they're going to be GMO. So the other problem, besides the genetic modification of these plants, is that these oils, all of these vegetable oils, are going to be really high in your omega-6 fatty acids. And so the body has a very delicate balance of their omega fatty acids. So there's omega-3, 6, and 9, and I think that there's even an omega-12, if I remember correctly. There may be another one. I think there might be 5. Omega fatty acids. So omega-3 is the one that you always hear about. That's the really good one. You can get that like in salmon and stuff like that. But the omega-6, now we do need some omega-6 for our body to function properly, but we don't want too much omega-6, because when that balance gets out of whack and you've got too much omega-6 in the body, it leads to inflammation. So That is a huge thing to keep in mind whenever you're, choosing oils and choosing foods, is just to kind of keep the omega-6 levels a little bit lower so that you don't create the inflammation in the body. And the other problem also is that these vegetable oils are really, really unstable. So as far as like rancidity goes. So all of these oils are pretty much going to be rancid before you're even eating them. So that's another reason that I kind of steer clear of those. I believe I have a video on healthy fats as well that I'll link to down below if you guys haven't seen that. And then it has animal shortening, which is going to be beef fat, which I've got nothing against tallow. I think it's great. But I am guessing that the tallow that they're using is coming from conventional feedlot animals, which are notoriously sick and very unhealthy animals, and they're all grain-fed and rarely will ever get any grass. It's highly unlikely that conventional feedlot animals ever get any kind of grass, and frankly, the conditions that feedlot animals are raised in and kept in is pretty horrific. So if you're going to use tallow, I would encourage you to only buy it from a grass-fed and finished source so that you're getting a really good quality product. And I link to a blog post over in the 20 Dishes blog. I link to a blog post that really talks about the differences between grain-fed and grass-fed animals, in case you're curious about that. So you can look at that some more. Potassium sorbate and sorbic acid are both preservatives that are used in food production. So these, again, are generally regarded as safe by the FDA in very small amounts, but there still is concern by some people about these additives being in our food. So we truly don't know the long-term effects of these types of preservatives and additives that we're seeing in food because there's never been any long-term studies on it. So potassium sorbate has been found that it can potentially cause an allergic reaction when used externally on skincare, or it's in skincare products. So for some people, if it's in a skincare product, it can cause skin issues. I like to err on the side of caution because, again, I come back to the fact that real food doesn't need preservatives and additives. So if you're seeing a food, quote unquote food, I like to call them food-like substances. They're supposed to be food, but they're not really food. If it has preservatives and additives and stuff in it, then it's really not real food. So I just kind of try to avoid that stuff. The last ingredients that I wanted to bring up, we've already talked about sugar, but it was corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup solids, and then cornstarch as well. So there's 4 or 5 different types of sugar in the cupcakes to begin with. And then the issue with corn products right now is that most conventional corn is going to be genetically modified. So again, if you're going to eat corn, I don't have a problem with corn. I don't think corn is bad. If you can tolerate it, awesome. Then just buy organic corn whenever you're going to use it. And they even make organic corn syrup, I believe. So if you absolutely have to have corn syrup for a recipe, just buy organic of it. But I personally would stick with things like maple syrup and honey, coconut sugar, molasses, and those types of sweeteners. And again, the same thing with cornstarch. I use organic cornstarch even in my own cooking, but I just always make sure it's organic. So really, the ingredient list leaves a lot to be desired for these Hostess cupcakes, but thankfully, our friend Emily over at Recipes to Nourish, sorry, gotta get her site right, has shared her awesome recipe with us, and it has, I didn't do a total count, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's 12 ingredients in the actual cupcakes, and then there's some additional ingredients for the cream filling and the ganache that goes on it. So it's got, probably about 20 ingredients or so in here. And it's just delicious though. They're all like real food ingredients: butter, like real chocolate chips, honey, cassava flour, cocoa powder, eggs, buttermilk, all things that we have in our house and is real food. No preservatives, no refined sugars, no additives, no junk in there. So hop over to the site and check those out. I mean, they look absolutely delicious. They've got the marshmallow filling and everything. So Emily really outdid herself on this recipe. So definitely hop over there and grab that recipe and check it out and let me know what you think about it. I did want to mention that this recipe uses our cassava flour, and if you guys aren't aware, 20 Dishes recently, a couple of weeks ago, launched our line of premium hand-milled cassava flour, which is one of the only gluten and grain-free flours that can be used in a 1-to-1 ratio with wheat flour in a lot of applications. Not every application, but a lot of times you can use cassava flour in a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you've got a wheat flour recipe that you've been wanting to convert to a grain-free or a gluten-free recipe, then cassava flour might be an awesome option for you. And it also makes excellent gravies. It's a wonderful thickener for soups and sauces and stuff like that. So I have a link down in the video description below that you can read all about our cassava flour. And then I also linked to another blog post. It's an informational blog post about the truth about cassava flour, because there's a lot of misinformation online about cassava flour, and some people say it's dangerous and stuff like that. So we kind of wanted to address a lot of the rumors that we have heard and kind of put the truth out there. So I've linked down to that as well. And also down below, if you're new to 20 Dishes and you want to check us out, we are a meal planning made easy website. And so we go far beyond meal plans with our memberships. So you get, of course, you get your meal plan and you get your shopping list, and it's fully customizable. If you have food allergies, you can exclude a whole bunch of different foods. So it's super customizable. We actually created it for people with food allergies because all three of us, myself, Kelly, and Orletha, who are my two co-founders of 20 Dishes, have all dealt with food sensitivities and food allergies at times. And so we know how hard things are, like the AIP, which is the autoimmune protocol. So we actually created this site as a way for people who are eating more restricted diets for health reasons can have an easier way to eat real food without spending a ton of time in the kitchen. So the link down below will give you a free 5-day meal plan. So you'll get the meal plans, the shopping list, and you also get our step-by-step prep guide, which is our secret sauce and really what sets us apart from other meal planning services. We give you the tools and the exact steps that you need to get in and out of the kitchen. Most people can prep a week of dinners in about an hour, or maybe a little bit less in some cases. So that's kind of our secret sauce. And so with the 5-day meal plan that we offer for free, you guys can get access to all of that. Check us out, see what you think. And I think that is really it for today, but don't forget to leave me a comment down below about your favorite Hostess treat so that I can see what I can recreate for a future edition. And also, if you have any questions about this specific edition of the Junk Food Made Real series or anything else, just leave me a comment down below, or you can always send us an email as well. We would absolutely love to hear from you. So thanks for watching today, guys. I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye.